Hello YouTubers, konnichiwa. Today we're going to cut off the excess tape and then cut out the openings that we'd put the glass cloth on top of. It's all cured and everything now. And there was one thing I would have done this yesterday, but when I came out I thought I found this one spot. Let me tilt the camera down here. It was right in here that didn't get wet out, and I came out and I looked at that and I thought, no, I don't want to cut it out until I wet it out. So I mixed up just a little bit of epoxy and filled that in. And when I was watching the video that I posted yesterday on wetting this out, I said I could see it where I completely missed that one little section. So okay, let's get on with this. So get out your knife or whatever your choice is and just start gently cut that out, and then we'll use a little bit of sandpaper here to round this over so you or somebody else doesn't get hung up on these little fibers sticking out. And it's nice to have a little bit of the glass cloth, or the glass wet out beyond the edge. Like right here it didn't, because it makes it easier to cut. Side of it, and then we'll cut off this tape. I'll just do a little bit of this and then I'll come back. So you want to go right along the edge between the wood and the tape. It goes a little easier when it's green. If you can come back in a few hours. It's not quite as hard to set up, and it's easier to follow along. Get this off. And it just peels right back like that. And you come along then. Clean up the edge a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Tape exposed. And that same thing, you'll come along and sand that down. And that's a small enough of edge along in there. You really don't need to do anything special with it other than just paint. I mean, if you really wanted to, I mean, you could ferret it in, I guess, but it's not worth the time. Let me go ahead and do some more rest of this, and we'll come back when I have it done. It's all trimmed up, and all the edges have been sanded. And you'll see the blue tape there. When I put the fillets in here, I don't want to get too much when I'm scraping away on the fillet material. I don't want to pile up material on this where I got to do any heavy sanding. So I put the tape down, and I also just finished up with a dampen the cloth and went around and got all the dust up. It's also a good idea to pull the cloth along too, some kind of cloth, to see if you got any rough edges. You know, if it hangs up and you pull the thread, then you need to go and sand it down, especially you don't want to cut yourself or your grandkids or whatever. There's a rough spot right there. Okay, let me get some, mix up some fillet material and we'll get these fillets in. And basically that's pretty much it for the painting. Let me get the fillet material out and we'll get into that. Let's set the camera up for a across the hull view. Almost could have set my tape in a little closer. And drag it down around the edge here. By filleting over the top of the tape, you kind of keep it clean over the glass tape here along the edge. Just fillets are in, and I thought, what the heck, I'll pull the tape up on both sides, so I got that up. So now I'll just wait till tomorrow when the fillet material is dried, and I can come back and do some sanding. And there's a few little spots in here where I had some holes, and so I thought, well, what the heck, I'll use that and fill in some of the rough areas. So the next thing I've got to decide is to whether or not, as to what I'm going to do about this oarlock. I don't really need it anymore because this one will serve the purpose for one person sitting here rowing. This one was for when that old removable seat was setting up about in here. As you can see where the marks are on the sides here, where that front piece came all the way up. So the front seat came all the way up into here. Probably spanned about, well, you can see it right in here. And so I used this oarlock. So I'm going to pull this out and save it for another boat. And I think I might see if I can take my chisel and or maybe the Japanese draw saw and cut this off, fill the half moon, hole in here and reshape this again. So we'll come back on that. And I found over my workbench a little bit of System 3's was it SA2100? It's their kind of like Stickflex or 5200, and it's been, I know, a year and it's still flexible and squishy. So, and the thing is that I can open up that tube and still use it. It's not a solid rock like 5200 would be. So we'll come back when we do some final sanding on this, and we'll get ready for paint prep and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting close. I think I may flip the hull over and work on the bottom, see how the weather goes, you know, whether it's worthwhile to try to do that now in the wintertime. Maybe I'll just wait until summertime or spring when it warms up to do the bottom and just take this outside. So we'll come back. Just finished up taking my Milwaukee tool here with the sander on it, a Delta sander. And then I had a half-inch long reach socket that I wrapped this sandpaper around and was able to get in here and get a nice finish on along the fillet and then along the edges. I also saved these two holes. I can use them later, and the nice thing about it, the edges are all sealed off with a little bit of epoxy so they won't come unraveling on me, so I'll be able to use those later. So basically, now I think I'm going to work on taking off these because they're kind of useless and I can save the parts. So let me go ahead and remove these long screws going through here and remove the oar locks, and we'll come back. I mean, it's just basically using a screwdriver. I have the hardware removed now, so I got to figure out a way to get these guys in here, get this piece off, and then fill it. I may come back with an angle and cut it out down here and then inset a piece and epoxy it in place and then smooth it down. Being how this on the inside, it's under compression and not tension, but I should be able to fill that up with no problem. The easiest way would have been just left it alone, but then I wouldn't have anything to videotape. Put an old plastic card in there. Is that AARP? Yeah. Well, let's get in on this side. And I'm using just a regular chisel, where am I at? With the flat side against the rail here. There we go. That came off. And pretty flush. I lost a little bit here, but that's going to get cut out anyway. So let me go ahead and look at this over and clean it up a little bit. Pop that other one off while I'm in the mood. Perfect. My rasping. Flatten it down and see what I've got here. Good. This one came off better than the other side. Got my adjustable square out and I marked some lines. I figured I'd use those instead of pencil. I can give my draw saw to cut that out. Go vertical here. I may use my Milwaukee plunge cut on this one and then shape it up with the rasp. Let me think about that for a bit.